Hey, greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers. I'm holding up for those that are not watching the video, The Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains, which has officially released. And
Yeah.
so if you pre-ordered copies, you should be getting your copies. And if you did not pre-order copies, you could look at our events page, see if we're around somewhere you're going to be. You can get a copy directly from us. You can get it from our website or basically wherever books are sold. If buying a book is not an option for you, go to your local library and tell them to get it ordered for you because they can do that. And you could get it from your local library. So, Dark Side of the Smokies. Mark, I think we need to start with two things. One is you've been writing history books for how many years now?
Decade or more.
Yes, yeah. You just lied. It's more than that. But with history,
Well, I've been writing fiction before that, but
yeah, and writing fiction for now. But you wrote Eerie, Florida. I'm going to toot your horn right now with History Press, who then went, "Oh, give us more, give us more." So you did Creepy Florida, Freaky Florida,
Eerie, Appalachia.
You have another one coming out in the not too distant future from them, Eerie Southeast. And when me and you got together in this podcast and call it Eerie Travels, it's because we wanted to focus on places people could go and see the things we were talking about or meet the people we were talking about or see the locations, because I think it's great to hear about things, but it's wonderful to be able to travel to go see them. So when we decided to write the first of our book series, Eerie Travels Presents The Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains, we did it as a road trip. Like, this is a road trip book. And although, yes, you can absolutely read it just for entertainment value, you can also take this book and follow the same exact path we went, go your own path, but we give you basically road trip instructions. And in the back of the book, we have an appendix with the addresses and locations and stuff, so you can find the stuff that is in the Dark Side of the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah. I've been doing those History Press books for a while, and it's History Press. So I could do the history, the folklore, the locations, deep dives and stuff like that. But I couldn't put in fun places to go, like attractions. I snuck them in as best I could, but I couldn't do deep dives on those. It was also, we had to kind of focus on things that were historically relevant, not just ghostly relevant or not just Bigfoot. I had to squeeze to get skunk apes in, and to get UFOs in was even harder, but they let me. And when I originally approached them with Eerie, Florida, it was a huge book. It was as big as this one with full of stories and all that. And they were like, no, we only do these smaller books and, so many words and so many pictures. And I'm like, okay, I'll cut it down. And then when that hit the bestseller list, that was one of their first ones at the bestseller list. It wasn't written by a politician. So they were like, hey, remember you said you had all these other stories? I'm like, yeah, but give me time. We're going to deep dive them. So that's when we got to do Freaky, which is off the beaten path, lesser known. And then by then I was consulting on the ghost shows like Ghost Hunters. And that's when we were able to do Creepy Florida, which was where I teamed up with all the paranormal groups, and it was all ghosts all the time. And that was when we first started experimenting with hey, let's make this an actual road trip. We just follow it along. But again, we couldn't put in the cool stuff. And then Eerie, Appalachia, again, Appalachian Trail, we had a lot of fun stuff, but I couldn't go into the deep dives. And that's why we love Four Horsemen. Let us do this deep dive travel guide. And we got to put in so many cool places. And I'm so happy with this. And it turned out beautiful. Val, our layout person, did amazing. Wonderful. Bo, our producer, did the editing.
Bo is a professional editor outside of being a show producer and an amazing paranormalist herself. I don't know if that's a real thing, but I just made it up. But no, Bo
that's a good word.
Yeah, it's a good word. Paranormalist. But Bo is thoroughly amazing on many fronts, but she was our editor and sometimes our voice of reason, as we all know. And then
and sometimes our traveler, especially in the next book. She actually went to some of the places with us. So
exactly, which is going to be so exciting. And then Valerie Willis is, of course, our, she's a good friend of the show, another paranormalist who, has been on our Rougarou episode and a few others, ones, and gets us in trouble, gets us kicked off of social platforms with things she says. But she did the typesetting, helped us with the cover, created it. It's created so that all of the books are going to be very similarly laid out, but it's beautiful inside. So for Carrie's artwork. So the other key factor in all of this, and Mark likes to say she's the talent, we just do the words, is Carrie Schultz's artwork, your wife's artwork, is on the cover and throughout this book, including her spear finger, the chicory. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff in this book. And I think it has just triple the amount of pictures, maps, newspaper articles we were able to put in to this versus some of the other books. And the difference too, I think that we've gotten a ton of compliments on by people who've had a chance to read this. And, we're going to be posting all those reviews here shortly, but is we have conversations in the book. It's not just you telling a story. It's me asking the questions I normally do on the podcast, which gives it a little bit of a different lens because we get told a lot that I ask all those questions that people are thinking, but they can't ask you if they're reading a book. And I get to ask you those questions and also stop you from explaining 80 million battlefields. I, of course, find all the good food along the way. There are Erica's eats throughout this book. There are Erica's sleeps, if you dare, because most of the places I mentioned to sleep at are haunted and terrifying. So, but it's a journey. And we have a few different people that are actually doing the road trip for us and are going to be posting more about that, which is really exciting.
Yeah, we've got some of the YouTubers that are friends of the show. You guys are familiar with them. They're going to places. All right. We've already taken Tampa Jay and Chris the Girl. We took them out to Cades Cove, a very prominent location. And we went to the location of the Lightning Lady story. So that was a lot of fun. And we're going to be taking others as well. I get YouTubers. It's up to their schedule. We try to do as much as we can with them. It's tricky, gang. It's tricky. That's the way these things work. Schedules are fun. Herding cats.
And yes, herding. I actually think it's more like herding runaway cartoons or, runaway raccoons or herding, one of Carrie's and my favorite, little, what do they call them? Like little ninjas.
The little raccoons. Yep. They're fun.
Yes.
So we had, I just want to say with Carrie's illustration, I just want to say one cool thing that Val did that was just kind of surreptitious. Carrie did her illustration of Spearfinger, and she was very insistent on drawing the old original chestnut trees, the American chestnut, which was the very important staple of the Cherokee diet. It was common in this area. Then there was that terrible blight. And they're all gone. They're almost extinct. We're trying to bring them back, but it's very tough because they grew very specifically. And because they were gone so long, everything else has grown up around it. So they can't grow where they used to. But that whole story of Spearfinger is tied to chestnuts and it's tied to the Carolina chickadee. It's tied to the titmouse. So the Carolina chickadee is the luck charm. It's the good luck. If you see it before you go on a trip, it protects you. If you see it when you're coming back, you had a good trip. You were protected, and it kept anything from following you home, which is big thing for Erica. Don't allow anything to follow you home.
Don't allow things to follow you home.
So Val put that little chickadee down at the bottom of a lot of the pages because it was just a cool thing to put down next to the page numbers. But it turns out was a great thing to put throughout the book because it protects you and while you're flipping through the book. It was just one of those synchronicities that happened through odd things. And now we're like, okay, we're going to have to do that in every book.
No, it's true. She set a standard and we're figuring it out. So we're going to talk more about this book. We are in the middle of working on The Dark Heart of the Appalachians. We are hoping to have that up for pre-order, if nothing else, by the beginning of 2026. We're hoping beforehand, but This one
Hopefully.
took us a while, and it does because we go to the places. We want to make sure me and you have been doing a bunch of road trips. You and Carrie have been doing road trips. We go to the places and make sure they're there. So let's
if you just do Wikipedia, you put in these buildings and half of them been bulldozed. You go to certain businesses, they're already closed and all that. So you wanted to know what the Smoky Mountains are, right?
Yeah, no, I wanted to start with what are the Smoky Mountains? For anybody listening who might, I mean, we have international listeners. They might be like, what the hell are the Smoky Mountains?
Yeah. So 10 minutes in here. Sorry, gang. We just, we wanted to we're so proud of this book. So thank you for the 10-minute ad. Now we'll actually get to some of the meat. But yeah, the Smoky Mountains, they're basically Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, and Western North Carolina for the most part. A little bit of Georgia, North Georgia. And they are basically a sub-range of the Appalachians and, part of the Blue Ridge. So Blue Ridge Mountains, kind of a little bit synonymous with the Smokies because some of the effects of the Smokies do go all the way up the Blue Ridge into Virginia. And the Blue Ridge goes from Pennsylvania, West Virginia, all that. But anyway, Smokies, this large section of the Appalachian Trail goes through there. A big portion of the Blue Ridge Parkway goes through there. And they're called the Smokies or the Smoky Mountains because they have this fog that comes off of the mountains. And if you're looking at them from a distance, it looks like big fields of smoke. And the early settlers in this area, they thought it was the native tribes. This was them up in the mountains, raising fires and stuff. And the natives said it was the spirits, the great spirits. Or the Nineveh, which are the native kind of angels. But it's kind of this amazing ecosystem in this area. This natural smoke comes up because it's the plants of the area created to protect them from the heat of the sun. And it's so cool to watch it come up, and it just kind of flows down the mountains. That's why we moved here. One of the reasons we moved here was just because
I was going to say, when people ask why we started here, it's because, I moved up a few years ago before you and Carrie moved up here, and then you and Carrie moved up, and we both have amazing, amazing views of the mountains, and even have some mountain on our property. They're, looking out, you see the Smoky Mountains, and, me and you constantly make Lord of the Ring jokes about, the misty mountains that are there, but that's why they call them that. It looks like there's white smoke all over the mountains, and it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And
it happens in winter. It happens in summer. You never know when you're going to see it. It's just almost every day. It's literally almost every day. And there's also in this area, because these mountains, these valleys, there is over 180,000 acres of old growth forest that hasn't been touched by man, still there. And that's in the US. That's largest of primary forest east of the Mississippi. There's some out there west, but it's, again, middle of nowhere. So we've got animals galore. My gosh. I just had a black bear in my backyard again this morning. Now they brought the elks back. We got skunks, chipmunks, raccoons, bats.
We have
squirrels.
A salamander. Not a lot of people can say that they have a salamander.
We have a lot of salamanders, but we have one of the giant salamanders left, the hellbender, which is still here. And he's been around 150 million years, we think. We have fossil records of this guy been around forever. He is so big he swallows his food whole. These things, the Japanese ones are familiar. Every other continent on the world has a giant salamander. North America is the only one that's still left.
We have a spider we mentioned in the book. It's the only location.
A unique spider. Yeah, we got the Crystal Cave spider, the Raccoon Mountain spider. It's unique only in this one location. They didn't even know about it. And then there's just so many things. And this is the whole Smoky Mountains is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Come on. That tells you everything.
True. And it doesn't hurt that there is a lot of creepiness along the way, and a lot of spookiness and a lot of history. I will say, because I do want to make sure that we highlight this. When we're about to talk about where this book takes you, and we're gonna give a little bit of behind the scenes on this book and things like that. But while we were writing this book, we were actually near the very end of our writing of the book, going into the editing phase. And unfortunately, Helene hit this area, which hit of course, terribly hit the Smoky Mountains. Way too many people lost their homes, their loved ones, and that some lost their lives. Whole
towns are gone now. Yep.
And there are places that we did include in this book that are no longer there, unfortunately.
A couple. But we made notes on that.
Yeah, we do.
And again, we wanted to keep them in the book because they were so important historically.
Yes. So. And we wanted to pay homage to them. It's not, they're gone. So we do mention that they're places, but most.
And also a couple of the restaurants and a couple of the other places we put in Erica's Eats, which is one of the cool sections of the book, is Erica puts places that are really fun to eat at and stuff like that. Sadly, even going to press, a couple of these died right after we went to press. We even checked. Okay, yeah, they're still open. Oops. And it's, again, the fallout from Helene, tourism dropped and a lot of things dropped, and they couldn't keep up their business models. And that's why one of the things this book is to try to get people back here and
come to the Smoky Mountains and see all this stuff in the book. So where do we start, Mark? Where do we begin our Smoky Mountain journey?
Well, we started a little kind of pushing the Smoky Mountain name, and that's Chattanooga. Because Lookout Mountain is part of the Blue Ridge. It's not technically part of the Smokies, but it's so close. And you see the Smokies from there. And the mountains, Lookout Mountain, the famous battle there, Battle of Chickamauga, was sometimes called the Battle of the Clouds because of Smoky Mountain feel there. And they one of the early revolutionary guys that got out here, one of the early settlers, they saw Lookout Mountain and they watched that fog kind of roll off. They said it looked like a wave of smoke coming off the top of the mountain, like the clouds were crashing like waves in the ocean. Love that. So we had to start in Chattanooga because it was also, it's a hub for flights in. A lot of people land in that area, and it just made more sense to kind of start on the west side and work your way around. We loved it, and it was just, it's nice area, and we got to put in some cool places in Chattanooga. We got to.
And if somebody asks, so where does it end up? Where does our book end for right now?
Well, technically, the way it works is, as you know, we go from Chattanooga. Yeah, we go up through the Blue Ridge into the proper Smokies. We head up through Knoxville, and then we head into, with some fun stops on the way, of course. And then we head into Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, what we like to call Baptist Vegas, which is, just the really fun touristy areas. But we take you to the places outside of Dollywood and all that, into the really cool, spooky places, unusual attractions there that some people don't even know are there. And with the ghosts and the hauntings and all that said. And then you come out through the Smokies. So we do a lot of the trails and a lot of the fun hidden things in the Smokies. Not everything that's hidden there. There are things we could have put in that we didn't. There's an abandoned train up near Kuahee, or it used to be called Klingman's Dome. And there's a abandoned train up there that we didn't put in the book because it's off the beaten path. It's kind of hard to get to. And the stories there aren't as creepy as there's other crash trains in the mountains that have ghost stories. So we put those in. But then you come out through Cherokee, which, of course, Cherokee legends are such an important part of this. And I don't even like to say Cherokee legends because it's just Cherokee. It's their natural.
Their Cherokee history is an important part of this. How about that?
And, one of the Cherokee elders we talked to, there is no natural and supernatural. There is just the natural.
Yeah.
And that is just the supernatural and natural are one thing to them. And they're not invasions, they're inhabitants. I love that.
Yes.
They're not incursions, they're inhabitants.
Yes.
But we also put in a lot of the dark history of the Cherokee, the bad things that happened to them and all that.
And we got to talk to a lot of people that gave a lot of information, which was wonderful. because they were
Yeah.
very willing to share their histories with.
We talked to folklorists, we talked to Cherokee elders, we talked to Cherokee storytellers. We were very, very careful about what we put in, and we had them check the book before we put it out. We had a lot of Native feedback on it to make sure we didn't say anything untoward. And we didn't hide anything. We put the rough stuff in there too. And then in Cherokee, we go over to Asheville, which, because of the badness, we wanted to make sure everything was safe there and everything we could put in there was still available to visit and all that. Sadly, a couple places we want to put in, we couldn't. But we did. We put in as much as we could. And then you come out of Asheville and you go back along the North Carolina side. So you hit the fun towns like Waynesville and Silva and Bryson City and Maggie Valley and all these great attractions and fun things to do, as well as the ghosts and monsters and legends. And we even found a couple cryptids that I didn't know about. One Carrie fell in love with. We're actually going to do a mini-sode on that one, the wonderful Tazzleworm, which is in Lake Junealaska, beautiful Lake Junealaska lake monster that I was thrilled to discover. And then we go through Franklin into Murphy, which has more cryptids and more ghosts and all that. And then we hit the Cherahoola Skyway. And then we're back towards Ocoee and heading back to Chattanooga. So that way you can make it as a full loop around. Now, if you only want to do parts of it, you can only do parts of it. If you want to do the whole thing, do the whole thing. Very, very fun trip. And I think that's why we did it. You could do it as a 3-day trip. That was what a long weekend. You can do this. You'll skip through everything, but you could do it. But we expanded it. So if you want to take a week, 2 weeks, there is plenty to do, depending on how adventurous you are and how much time you want to spend at each location. If you want to organize ghost hunts and stuff like that, we list who you need to call, who you need to act with, and all that. So you can spend overnights in some of these places and extend it as long as you want.
Yeah. And we're excited to see, as travelers continue to do this and give us their feedback, what the exciting adventures they have in this. And that's the whole point of it, is we want you guys to be able to travel. And we do it in a way where you don't need 80. It's not me saying, go to Antarctica on a bazillion-dollar cruise. Like, yes, if you can, go team. But if you can't, it's a part. And our intention is to make many, many of these so that you guys can have all these different places to go. But Mark, I think one of the things that could be fun to talk about is, right before the break might be a couple of the places that didn't end up making it in the book.
Yeah, there was one that we really, really, really wanted to put in the book in particular. It was, again, not really ghostly, but it was fun. And that's actually in North Georgia. It was kind of towards the end. We were sneaking in because we also dipped down into Bluefield, Georgia. So you can go to the Bigfoot Museum, Expedition Bigfoot there, which we love. It's one of our favorite places to visit. And it's like half hour out of the Smokies. Come on, you got to go there. But one of the places on the way there that we were going to put in was Goats on the Roof. They are in Pigeon Forge, but their original location is on Tiger Mountain in Georgia. And it's right on 441 heading south towards Atlanta. And it's a cool little place to stop. And they used to have goats on the roof. And as we were writing the book, they went out of business at that location. They closed it. And we were like, oh, and then we saw it was for sale. And we were like, oh no, it's going to disappear. And next thing we saw construction there. We're like, oh, they're going to tear it down. They were tearing down the sign. And I'm like, but it's so funny because then we finished the book and we just kept driving by and taking pictures, documenting the destruction. But then suddenly we saw construction and it wasn't completely tearing it down. And a few weeks ago, we drove by and they had a new sign up that was called Goat. And it was G.O.A.T. And I was like, oh, they're bringing back Goats on the Roof, but it's not Goats on the Roof. And we were trying to figure it out. And literally last weekend, Carrie and I were coming back from an event, drove by it, and we stopped because we saw someone out there working on it. We're like, hey, and we met the new owner. and she got it in a foreclosure auction and has decided to move her eclectic store there. She had a store from Cornelia, Georgia, and she's moving it up there. We will be going there. We will be talking about it more, but she's opening a fairy store themed cottagecore type store there, and they've got goats. They brought the goats back. They're not going to be on the roof, but they've got a fairy garden in the backyard, and the goats are going to be hanging out in the fairy garden.
That is so awesome, and I love everything about that. And I think her partner has some very eclectic.
Oh yeah, he's like the cottagecore side, and he's doing like the man cave side. But his stuff is all woodwork and native stuff. So it's got like chandeliers made out of porcupine quills that are just beautiful. And then like he's got a big foot center table made out of big oak slabs that the tables move open and the seats open and close. I can't describe it enough. We will definitely do a deep dive on it. We're going to do a video on it. We're probably going to do a book signing there because it's incredible.
No, exactly. That was one of the places that we wanted to include because it's places like that. And then we had, there's another place that's, really interesting, which is the House Cat Museum.
Yeah. And it's back open.
Yes.
They've only closed for a few days because the man who founded it passed away.
Yes.
And we thought that was it.
But it's on the drive, so you can pencil that into your books, the House Cat Museum, goat things. We're going to keep adding to it. We'll be throwing up more videos that, and one of the things we're going to do is keep our eyes out for new and different places that you can go. So one thing I will say before we cut to break here real quick is, travelers, if you find a place that you are like, I got to tell Mark and Erica about it, send it to us. Go on the website, go to the contact us, send it to us. We love finding out about new places, new myths, new monsters, new legends. And part of how we do that is with you guys sharing stuff with us. I think it's vital. It's vital.
It's important. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll keep talking some more after the break, gang. So we'll be right back.
Destiny Beard, the lyrical soprano who will haunt your dreams. With her alluring melodies and intricate harmonies, this dark siren of wistful song shall capture your soul and lead you into the night. Check out Destiny's new single, The Haunting Is Over, with international musicians Sam Haines and Gary Bennett, as well as her other musical works at destinybeard.com.
Woohoo!
We're back.
I always love people watching the video version going, huh?
Yeah, no, Mark makes me stop talking. It's weird.
Well, hopefully YouTube's putting the ads right there. So but you never know with them.
There's some very interesting things we encountered. I want to talk a little bit about a couple of the places that we lost. Yeah. One of them was the Fletcher School of Dance.
Yep.
So,
it was a amazing location. Eric and I took some pictures there, and it's now part, though the company itself was saved. They actually moved into one of the theater, the theater there in Nashville. So that's nice that they're still being able to teach the dancing and stuff. But the haunted location there got washed away in the flooding.
We had a picture of us outside of it. We were going to include in the book, and then we didn't feel like it was very good form because it doesn't exist anymore. You can't go to that location.
So we put the some of the dancers from the school, an old historical photo there. That was one of the things I loved doing these books, is we're able to dive into old newspapers, old history archives, and get postcards, newspaper articles, old pictures, original photos, people going to these locations from the 1950s, 1940s. We got stuff from 1800s and in there. It was very cool. One of my favorites was actually part of the Chattanooga, was we found the original article about Jackie Mitchell, who was the baseball player, probably the most badass babe in the early part of the book, right?
Hands down.
Yeah, she struck out Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig. Come on, that's crazy because they did it. It's a whole story in the book. You got to buy the book to get that one. But just know Jackie Mitchell, one of the coolest things. And we got a picture of her from the newspaper. I didn't think we'd ever find that. I'd seen video because it was one of the early newsreels of it, but even shows the strikeout, which is cool. But I'd never seen like a close-up picture of her and everything. So that was cool. We got to throw that in there. And some of these locations that we went to, the hotels and stuff, were super nice, letting us take pictures of the rooms. We were like, hey, we're not going to stay here tonight, but we've heard good things. Oh, yeah, go ahead. What? Yeah, it's like, go ahead and take the pictures and just don't touch anything. Okay.
Just travelers, if you're watching or listening, Mark gets told to not touch anything on a regular basis in places like this because he gets very excited. I, on the other hand, err on the side of don't come home with me. So I will not be touching all the things.
But like when we went to Brushy Mountain, Carrie and I went all through it. Erica was like, nope. She noped out.
No,
you went to the restaurant. A lot of
people don't realize that Brushy Mountain, those ghosts come out during the day.
It's more common during the day than at night. Yeah. All the ghost hunters go at night. I'm like, you should go during the day. It's much more common. But the restaurant there, amazing. The Warden's Table, that was fun. But we had more fun with the Barkley Marathon, which I didn't even know about before I started researching Brushy. That is a wild, wild story. We were going to do an episode on it. I'm like, nope. This is going in the book. This is so crazy.
And it's something you can still participate in, which has its, there are so many things that I feel like, being on this journey with you, that I learned, and I'm sure we can't even count the number of times I went, wait, what? As you're describing, because some of this, you wrote it and I read it and then was like, wait, what? Excuse me. And then, we made really good notes so that we could go, how do we tell this story the best? How do we tell this story? How will our travelers take this story? Like that sort of thing. So that was a lot of fun with this. And just so that people know how we wrote it, you would write the stories and then I'd go in and ask all my questions. Then you'd answer the questions, sometimes by either just an answer or adding to the story to fill it out differently or, whatever. But it was very much like me getting to learn the stories on some of the history and then being able to go on these travels. And doing the travels is so much fun because it's not like we're, Dollywood is amazing. I love Dollywood, but it's very different going to Alcatraz East and seeing Ted Bundy's VW Bug. Like if you're a true crime fan and you haven't been to Alcatraz East, shame on you. Like it is totally a thing. So what other stories, did you go
Didn't make the cut? Yeah, I don't want to talk too many about those because it's like we might put them in future books if we can redo. We went up to Highlands and we went to the log cabin restaurant. And again, that was one, as we went to press, was still open. We had a great time. It closed literally the week after we went to press.
Yeah.
And we were able to sneak it in just a quick paragraph that, because we didn't have time to reformat the page and all that, but we were able to sneak in, hey, it's closed now, but we're hoping that new people own it. And it is undergoing auction right now. And some people are trying to put it under, option right now. And hopefully they're actually going to buy it and reopen it.
Kind of like Ghost Town. Ghost Town keeps being threatened to be reopened, which is
reopened, closed. Yeah, Maggie Valley's Ghost Town in the Sky. We did get to go there with a tour from the original owner, but now that's even then she's like, because it's now trying to be resold again, she can't allow tours up there currently. And it's mostly because vandals keep going up there and breaking stuff and destroying stuff. So it's like, come on, gang. It's not private. It's private property and we want it preserved. So please stop going up there being stupid. And if you want it back, let it rise. But again, there was some other places there that we wanted to put in. There was a Maggie Valley restaurant that's gone now. And it was literally 2 weeks before we went to actually write about it. We were actually in that area writing, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, it's not here. Where did it go? And it had gotten a fire, and then it burned down part of it, but they've restored it now, which is it's the dance hall there. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but it had a ghost in it. So I'm hoping the ghost is back. Haven't heard, but they're still rebuilding it. It should open soon. And it was a line dancing place. It's a big barn there. I think it's even called the Maggie Valley Barn, but we don't know what the new name will be. But here's hoping.
Ground.
The Stomping Ground. That's it. Thank you, Erica. I was slipping on the name.
If somebody's going to know about dancing on this podcast, it is not you.
Yeah, we didn't put it in the book because it was so up in the air at the time, and it's looking like it's coming back, and that's beautiful. There were a couple things in Black Mountain we didn't put in. Again, that's kind of not really the Smokies anyway. We were stretching to put that in. So, but now I'm kind of glad Black Mountain's on the rebound and Lake Lure is on the rebound. So we'll put, there was a ferry bridge there that they are tearing down, which is sad. It was a trestle. It was green trellis bridge, not a train trestle, trellis bridge, but they were just unable to save it. And they literally just announced last week the demolition is occurring soon, which again, these were things we were going to put in and just said, that's a stretch anyway. But then the storm hit and we were like, okay, let's let them rest and we'll put them in something future.
Yeah. And we have some books planned for the other parts of where we are. And me and you made a really long list of the books. So the next one, let's talk a little bit about going into the dark heart of the Appalachians, because you did Eerie, Appalachia, which does take you all along the Appalachian Trail. But we realized there's a lot of other little things that you didn't quite get to explore. And there's very much a concentrated area of paranormal weirdness in that area.
Yeah, it's I think I kind of pitched it as Tri-State Terror originally.
Yeah, and I was like, that is not going to be the name.
And then the problem is there's so many tri-states because if you're in that little corner of a state and another state and another state, it's a tri-state. And some people even pointed out, well, if you say tri-state, that's New York, New Jersey. And I was like, no. So I'm like, okay, so Dark Heart of Appalachia. We're just getting started. Again, like we did this zero in on the Smoky Mountains for this book. This is a zero in on that corner between Ohio, Kentucky, and West Virginia.
Yes.
That corner near Ashland, Ohio, or Ashland, Kentucky, Ironton, Ohio, Huntington, West Virginia. They're all right there in that corner. And man, there is so much right there. And it just kind of spiral out from there. And so we're kind of covering the eastern side of West Virginia, the northeastern side of Kentucky, and the southeastern side of Ohio. So this is Appalachia. I know people think of Ohio, and I put that in the Appalachia book. Even Joe Bob Briggs was like, that's not Appalachia. I'm like, you're thinking of West Ohio. East Ohio is definitely the Appalachian, particularly along the Ohio Valley area. And then West Virginia, it's all in the Appalachians, but we didn't kind of go over to the Panhandle in this one. We're saving that for future use, but we're sticking with the big central West Virginia, focusing on that southeastern side or southwestern side of West Virginia and that northeastern side of Kentucky. And that's because there is just so much right there. Big Sandy River, Ohio River, so many little holler monsters, so many legends, so many ghosts, so much history. We got the Hatfields and McCoys all took place there. We've got early Civil War. We've got just so much. And the mine wars of Matewan. We've got ghost towns. We got all this. I cannot wait for you all to dig into this as much as I have. The problem was narrowing it down. It's still the problem. I'm still in the process of what's going in the book and what's going to be saved for future use on the podcast, on a possible other options for us. It's, I don't want to say too much because, hey, you say too much and it blows up and people are like, hey, what happened to that thing? Well, But we know this book is coming, so I can talk about this book. So.
Yeah, and we know the ones after that, but we'll start with Dark Heart of
early days.
Early days. We're working on it. We're super excited about it. Of course, we will have like Mothman, but there are some different angles with some of the stories that people have already heard that we talk about a little bit, but there are some very different angles to some of these stories and some stories that have never been told around some of these things. And we've been very, very fortunate to meet various people and be along these journeys. And me and you've done a couple of these trips by me and you. And Mark's tricked me into some pretty creepy places. That's all I'm going to say. He has literally gone all out in tricking me this time around. So
yeah, I mean, I got you to some for Smokies, but that was pulling arms and legs. So I had to trick you into a couple for the new one, but they were important pictures.
There's been many. He's getting into an entire level of shenanigans to get me into some of these places. But I will say, like, pulling the covers back from some of these places, there's things that you go, what? Like, we went to places, and I'm not going to give them away, but I was just like, how the heck is this thing here? Like, it's so bizarre. So I'm excited to include those, but more than anything, I'm excited to hear what travelers think of the dark side of our Smoky Mountains and the adventures they have there and what they find. So, definitely pick up a copy. Let us know what you think, travelers. We'd love to hear your stories about your travels and your adventures on all the places and places we need to go, all over this world. Please tell us places we need to go, because we love traveling as much as you guys do. And that's part of the reason we're doing this together. Is me and Mark are road tripping people like nobody's business. So give us an excuse and a weird thing to go see, and we're there, unless it's haunted. And then Mark's there and I'm in the car eating snacks. They're in the Wayback Machine.
But we went to some cool historical places. I think Judicola Rock is one of those we're just still. I mean, this thing's been known about for decades or centuries, and it's still just, we haven't translated it. We don't know what it is. And the legend behind it is so cool. And we realized through this book, we were following in the footsteps of Spearfinger. We were in Spearfinger hunting grounds. We were in Judicola's hunting grounds. We were at Artusakula, depending on the Cherokee pronunciation. And I butcher all those pronunciations. And, but they were the heart of this. And we were realizing that's why we had to be. Yeah, the liver of this. Yeah, and we had Stoneface and Stonehead. People were like, who? I'm like, and Carrie having to draw these things. I'm like, Carrie, I know this one sounds stupid, but you got to draw this one because nobody's going to believe it. And it's, a giant rock head that rolls around and eats people's livers. Come on. And it was fun. So, and then she loved the tassel worm. We're going to do a whole mini-sode on that. But she also brought, our Wampus cat and the Cherokee Little People.
And it's beautiful.
Some of her work in this. The Lightning Lady is probably one of my favorite people. And her Boojum. She got to do your story of the Boojum.
I love the Boojum. But so without giving any more away, I will say, travelers out there, one of the key things I did learn is that I can absolutely outrun Mark. So when running into these situations with things like Spearfinger, you don't have to outrun your enemies, just your friends. Keep that in mind when you're traveling. Have lots and lots of good snacks. Don't forget to download maps. And be safe out there. And please listen to our guidelines in our book, because we do say when to go, when not to go, and who to contact. But Mark, other than saying we can't wait to hear what people think of this book, do you have any last words?
I have one more place. We did some bonus travels towards the end, which were things that weren't quite in the Smokies, but were still worth your time and not, within travel distance, which you got to remember for us, some people, travel, it's 30 minutes. I ain't going. For Erica and I, we'll go 5 hours if somebody tells us there's some new sandwich place that we got to try, or some new barbecue place. I'm willing to go 9 hours.
Bookstore. We will go if there's a bookstore.
Some new used bookstore, some new bookstore that's eclectic. Yeah, we'll go that far. But one that you had to go to was Henry River Mill Village Again, we were also worried it wasn't going to survive. Where was that? What was that in the Hunger Games? What's it? Which
it is
village?
District 12. It is
District 12.
The backdrop for where we are introduced to Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark, and may the odds be ever in your favor.
So yeah, we had to put that in there because
yes, agreed.
And then there was, of course, Beach Mountain, which has it's not Alice in Wonderland, but it was Wizard of Oz.
Yes, so, which that place is just it's weird, and you got to go for Wizard of Oz Fest. But no more giving away things in the book. Mark.
No, I was just going to say the one thing about that one is we weren't going to put it in the book, but then it reopened. It's been open for a few years now, and it's still opening, which I can't wait to go again because wow, that's fun. All right, so enough. No more spoilers. Pick up the book wherever you can. We loved it. We hope you enjoyed it.
I will say, just a reminder, the paperback is black and white inside, but if you get the hardcover, it's color inside. The ebook is not going to do this justice. You can absolutely look at the ebook, but ebooks do not have the pictures, the background. They don't. They're text-based. So it's out there on ebook, but it is not as pretty as this book is. So I just want to...
it's a lot of fun. That hardcover is very nice. The inside cover is amazing. Again, Val and team, the whole team of Four Horsemen are just a blast for this. So, all right, all that. Let's just wrap this up. So, travelers, if you're planning to travel this, get to Chattanooga, fly in, drive in, whatever you want to do. If you fly in, plan on renting a car for this whole trip because that's what the thing is. And then we've got a few places you can hike to. Hey, hikers, come on in. We've got some Appalachian Trail hikers we talked to be able to get to some of these places. Erica and I, we're not young and fit, but we were still able to get to every place in the book. So
okay, so
with assistance.
Yes. No, I was going to say we didn't create any ones that are really, really difficult. There are expansions if you're a true hiker. I do love hiking in the mountains, but I like hiking on trails that are not, I don't need ropes in order to do that. But there are expansions.
So the ones we can do the ones that say moderate to strenuous, but anything fast strenuous, no. But we had hikers do them for us, and we were right there. They went and did it, and then came back and told us exactly how to do it. So, and that's like some of the Bigfoot hunting places. The Bigfoot guys got deeper into the forest than we did, but they were able to tell us exactly where to go and all that. So it is accessible. So, but all that, thank you all so much for letting us do this. We're super excited. Thanks for listening to this. You've got your itinerary. You can make this trip. You can book your hotels, book your places to stay, book the Airbnbs. We suggest Erica's sleeps are fantastic. There are some haunted attractions in there that are just fun to visit, and not necessarily haunted, but haunted attractions like Halloween stuff that's open all year. We gotta love that. It's it's incredible. So thank you all so much, that all the places that hosted us for these things and took us to these things. So much cooperation. It takes a village to write a book, and it was incredible. So travelers, book your trips, book your things, enjoy this. And when you're traveling through the Smokies, you can listen to our podcast. You can bring our book along, just like seeing us. Avoid the bear jams, avoid the elk jams, unless you want to see them. Get to the cemeteries, look for the spooky things, go to the crazy haunted locations, look for ghosts, go to the wilds of the woods and look for Bigfoot, go to the heights of the mountains and look for the UFOs and ghost lights. Stay out of the mists as best you can, and we'll see you on the other side.